my idea today was to do like lunar or lunar flips or something lunar related. And I'm at lunch and I am having the worst time. I feel way off my game. I don't know why. I brought two of my best lunar kendamas, my Chrome Slay Dog and my Matt Sweets Pro Mod, and I just can't hit anything. I'm not sure, it doesn't make any sense. So it's to the point where I'm super frustrated. I'm just gonna stop for now and I'll catch up with you guys again this evening when I get home. All right guys, day 8, lunar, and like I said earlier, I'm really having a pretty off day when it comes to landing some tricks. So instead I want to talk about a question that I get all the time. People DM me and message me all the time and ask me, the first question they ask me the most is, should I buy this kendama or that kendama? Which, by the way, I can't answer for you which kendama to buy, this one or that one. It's totally up to you. The second most asked question people ask me is this kendama good for lunars? Is that kendama good for lunars? Is this kendama good for lunars? And the answer is almost always, well, it depends. Like, mine may be good for lunars or not good for lunars, but that doesn't mean that the kendama that you get will be good or bad for lunars. So what makes a good lunar kendama? There are a lot of different things that make a kendama either good or bad for lunars. In my opinion, the most important aspect is the lunar balance. That is the balance of the ken itself and how much room you have to adjust before it tips over. So a good lunar balance, you know, will balance along a spectrum here and will get kind of more towards a flat without tipping over. At a certain point, the ken gets too heavy and it flops over. Kendama with bad lunar balance either will always tip over or just has just a very little amount of wiggle room before it tips over one way or the other. When you ask, is a kendama good for lunars? Does that kendama have good lunar balance? And the answer to that is usually, well, it depends on the wood. So every kendama is going to be different and there's no way you're going to know without getting it and trying it. For instance, these two kendamas are two of my best lunar balanced kendamas. They just happen to be that way. I got some that were sent to me that are really well lunar balanced, but I have a Slay Dog, the Nihon Ash, that's not good lunar balanced. And I've seen other people with Pro Mods from Sweets. Uriel Sanchez got one that was not well lunar balanced. It has nothing to do with the shape. The shape is good on all of these. Same thing with this, my White Brave Pro Mod, fantastic kendama. The lunar balance on it is not that good. I still love this kendama, but it doesn't have good lunar balance. Craft Plus, same shape, a little bit bigger, perfect lunar balance, but it's because I asked for it and they found me one with great lunar balance. So that's one way. If you want a good lunar balance, there's 2 ways to go about it, or 3 ways. There's 4 ways. There's a few different ways to have good lunar balance. 1, you get lucky. 2, you ask for it, or if you're in person, you try different kendamas and see if you can get one with good lunar balance. 3, you can modify your kendama, like this Prime, with Slay Dog Tama, but this Prime Ken actually had really bad lunar balance. So I drilled a hole in the bottom, reduced the weight, so it has better lunar balance now. Or you can add weight to the Serato. I added some big heavy metal bolts in here, and that makes it so it's really nicely lunar balanced. Now, in my opinion, there are 3 kendamas that kind of break the mold and they're almost always going to have good lunar balance. And they all do it in different ways, which I find really interesting. The first one is the Givadama. The Givadama, this accomplishes good lunar balance by they reduced so much material from the spike. Took out all kinds of material here, just really thin, all kinds of material really thin, and a drill hole here. So there's not much weight here, and so it's so extreme that it probably makes up for any variance in the woods. So even if this wood is denser than this, there's so much material taken out here that most likely it's going to be a well-balanced lunar kendama no matter what. So that's one kendama that is almost always good lunar balance. The second kendama that's almost always good for lunar balance is the Ben Harold Pro Mod, and it does it in the exact opposite way. Instead of reducing a bunch here, they actually put a whole bunch of weight here. This is thicker, this is wider. It's a super chunky, heavy Serato, which makes it have really good lunar balance. Now the third kendama that almost always has good lunar balance is Res. Res has great lunar balance because it's not made out of wood. So it's very consistent material, as far as I know, and therefore all reses are going to have good lunar balance. Having said all this, I think it's really fascinating that you have a trick that is so well liked by people. You know, in many ways, the kendama that you have, and whether it's lunar balance or not, can affect how well you can do certain lunar tricks, at least at certain levels of play. If you're a beginner or intermediate, the kendama balance is probably going to affect your play style a lot. When you get better and more advanced, you might be able to compensate a little better. But for most people, the lunar balance plays a big part. Man, this wind is killing me. But yeah, those are just a few thoughts on lunar balance, and don't ask me if a kendama is has good lunar balance or not in the future, because I'm always going to answer with, I don't know, it might not, because most kendamas these days have a great shape and could be well balanced for lunars and might not be, except for those 3 that I mentioned. So again, today was day 8, lunar. I hope you were okay with me just rambling today and talking about something that I found interesting instead of doing tricks. Hopefully I'll be able to hit some tricks tomorrow, but today was just an off day. As always, cut the noise, keep it clean, and I'll see you tomorrow.